All right, happy Tuesday night, everybody. Welcome on into the Raiderland World Headquarters, where it is breezy. It picked up finally as the afternoon went along. They were forecasting some big gust up to 60 miles an hour, and I think we're getting it right now in West Texas. So that's why they canceled, pardon me, postponed Texas Tech baseball today with New Mexico. But yeah, if it got here about an hour or two earlier, it would have made for a really bad deal out at Dan Law Field. Glad you're with us tonight. It is Tuesday. Tuesday's best. We give you a topic, you give us the two best examples tonight in honor of the NCAA basketball tournament where you get great upsets. We want your favorite Cinderella stories in sports or otherwise. The upsets, the teams, the players, the individuals, the great Cinderella stories. Let's talk about a Cinderella story. Cinderella story here. All right. Let's do that tonight on Tuesday's Best. How will the Big 12 do in the NCAA tournament? And do you care? Are you a conference backer? Are you a Big 12 fan or just, hey, if Tech does good, great. I don't care about anything else. How many of you care about the Big 12 versus Texas Tech? And then we mentioned Tech baseball. Hey, they went to sleep last night. They made up 3 spots in the RPI at d1baseball.com. All of that, and then it's not slugged on the topic, but apparently, within the last maybe hour, the first documents are being dumped on the JFK assassination by the Trump administration. Will we learn anything? Do you think you'll learn anything? I don't think you will. What do you think we'll learn? What do you think we'll get? Are you a JFK, assassination not fan? That's not the right word, but learned scholar. And those over the years, I have friends who did like doctoral and master's theses and dissertations on this stuff. You think we'll get anything out of it? So you tell us tonight. Let's go Cinderella stories. I've got a couple of athletes we're going to talk about being Cinderella story athletes. Tech basketball, if you want to get into it tonight, we can really. It's going to be tomorrow. And I was hoping to drop a really cool bracket on you tonight of what this tournament would look like in about 6 or 7 years. And AI like thwarted us. He thwarted. He? Is it a he? It's probably a she. Thwarted me and Alan Corbin on being able to get the cool stuff that he'd worked on so hard over the last couple of days put into combat form on the website. So let's get it going tonight. In 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, TheRaiderland.com. You started your day there today. Got the Raiderland hot links, the coolest links, the hottest links from around Raiderland. You know what we're doing on Tuesday. We're taking Tuesday's Best, brought to you by Kyle Rogers, our realtor in Raiderland. We give you a topic. You give us the two best examples. You only need to make one phone call if you're buying or selling a home in Lubbock, and that's to Kyle Rogers. Also brought to you by the Reserve, a culinary tavern. Come late Thursday night. Will they be open? Can you watch the game there? Yes. Yes, you can. 103rd and Quaker. Great fun. What almost I might call an eclectic menu and a great brunch on Saturday and Sunday. That's our friends at the Reserve. And all communication brought to you by United Supermarkets, Market Street. They're on the chat line. So let's get it going. Let's get your thoughts. Let's have some fun tonight. Tuesday's Best, underdogs, teams, individuals, Cinderella stories, you tell me. We'll hold out as long as the dust doesn't overtake us tonight. My goodness, it is hit with a vengeance in the last hour here on the South Plains. James giving us thumbs up there. He's on our Facebook page. You can be on Facebook. You can be on YouTube, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, and hopefully everybody on YouTube. Give us thumbs up, share it, like it, do that. Grows the metric. And then on Twitter X at Ryan Hyatt Media. Craig checking in from Texas Roadhouse, the 16-ounce ribeye medium rare. And I don't know if you're in Lubbock doing that or wherever you are, but yeah, Texas Roadhouse. I'll give them some love, absolutely. If you order your steak right, they'll cook it right. They'll cook you a rare steak. Now they're going to say, "Hey, we got to say it's got to be medium rare." No, they'll cook you a good steak there. Some of the best sides. My man G Unit on Twitter, Grant Peterson, he eats there at Texas Roadhouse, I think about 3, 4 times a week in Vegas. And he gives you great basketball discussion. Alan, all right, so Alan Corbin and I have been working on a new, and really when I say we, him, a bracket on what it would look like if the Power Four football teams put on their own tournament. And he's been thwarted today. Apparently, GPT said I was spamming him. My account was locked. We can't get to the bracket that he created. It's incredible. We will get to it. We'll release it and we'll discuss it because it is the absolute future of what not the NCAA tournament, but the college basketball playoff will look like in 5 or 6 years. Alan has done exhaustive research. And hang in there, Alan. We're going to get it done. James, I witnessed Northern Iowa beating UT 5 or 6 years ago on a buzzer beater in OKC. We're talking about Tuesday's best Cinderella stories. So let's lay this out here tonight for the topic. Cinderella stories, teams that overachieved. It can be a team that did more than anybody else. And, I didn't put it out there, but the U.S. hockey team in 1980, Cinderella story, 100% upset. Individual game upsets in the tournament over the years. You want to do that? That's UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County over Virginia. Was it the first 16 over a 1 in the NCAA tournament on the men's side? The first one was Harvard over Stanford in the women's tournament around 99, 8. So you have those moments, those singular moments, but we can also talk about great players. Who is the greatest Texas Tech athlete Cinderella story? Who is that? If you were going to do the Texas Tech 30 for 30 Cinderella story, who is that athlete? Male, female, any sport. So I was going to back up a little bit on this one and give you a couple of, all-timers. Bart Starr, Cinderella story. He comes out of Alabama in the late 50s. Pedestrian quarterback. This wasn't Alabama of Bear Bryant. This wasn't Alabama of winning national championships. This is Alabama not doing very good. Goes to a really bad Green Bay team. He's buried on the depth chart. And this guy, this offensive coordinator, coming out of the New York Giants system, gets a head coaching job, and he's thinking he's done. He's going home. But no, he doesn't. He wins 5 NFL championships, elevates on the depth chart, and becomes the guy who gets the first 2 MVPs in the Super Bowl. I would give you Bart Starr, Cinderella story. I would give you Johnny Unitas, the reclamation project, out of the semi-pro fields of Pittsburgh. Nobody wanted the dude. Ends up in Baltimore, gets a flat top haircut, some high top shoes, and the next thing you know, Johnny U is born. Cinderella story. Give me some of yours. Alan is back in. I have rankings and pairings, just can't unlock the bracket. We don't want to release it until we have the bracket. Do have the first 4 and out teams, and you'd be shocked who is in and not in. You got to sit on the bracket, though, until it's ready. JC is on YouTube and text in Jerry Mason. I don't know if that is a Cinderella story or anything. Jerry Mason out of Morton, I believe. Was it Morton? I think it was Morton. Not Morton Lamesa, one or the other. Bobo, I think it was his nickname. And he was here, and then he was gone. I wouldn't call it a Cinderella story, maybe a sad story. We're talking Texas Tech basketball in the early 80s, around 82, 83, right in through there, for those who don't know. Baseball, no game today. And about 2 o'clock, everybody was like, man, they could be playing. And by 5:30, everybody's like, glad they weren't playing. They could have got it in, but I respect the decision not to play it. And I hope that means that we can get out of playing New Mexico completely. The RPI went up 3 spots today just by going to bed last night, and the teams you playing and doing some stuff. 65. TCU coming up this weekend. Weather looks promising and good. And if you can take 2 out of 3, you'll probably move up another 10 spots in the RPI. So now you're in the mid 50s, I think, by the end of the weekend. And with Kansas State coming up at the end of the month, Texas Tech baseball, I think, could be in the 40s for sure. That ain't horrible going into April based on only winning 3 games early on. Val Lamesa. Okay, I thought it was Lamesa. There was somebody from Morton who had a cup of coffee with Tech basketball in the early 80s, and I can't think of who the player is. Meanwhile, back at the conversation on YouTube, Brian Eyes Raiderland on YouTube. Please jump in, share, grow it, like it, get the show out there. Matt Tittle could have been that Cinderella story had Spike kept him as starter in '98. Tittle he wasn't the starter in '98. No, he wasn't the starter in '98. It was a backup. I just blanked out on who the starter was. Big old thick, solid guy who got hurt a couple of times. Where's Scott Fitzgerald? Paging Scott Fitzgerald. Uh, Joseph Hamilton on Facebook. Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland on Facebook. Wes Welker had no other D1 offers. All right, so see, I was going to throw that out there and see if anybody was going to go Welker on the ultimate Cinderella story in Texas Tech athletics, and it's probably Wes Welker. I'm not going to fight that one. I might be able to dig around and find a few other athletes over the years, but quite literally, he's sitting there with nothing coming out of Heritage Hall. He's a better soccer player than he was a football player at the time, according to many reports. And you've got a new head coach in Mike Leach, and you know you got different people. Tommy McVeigh, and other people saying, what the hell? Just Cinderella story, Cinderella story. So I would go with Joseph right now from a Tech standpoint. That might be the ultimate Texas Tech sports Cinderella story. Individual athlete, individual player. Robert, I watched Tech, UNC, UCLA, and recently the real Texas. Okay, well, good for you. Don't know what that means, but I'm glad you did. He was the starter after Peters got it. Yeah, Peters. Rob Peters. Thank you. Rob Peters. 5-0 in relief at Peters. Was that the same year they went to Austin and got beat like 57-0 or something? Was that the next year? Tittle had great hair, though. Matt Tittle had fantastic hair. One of those guys who could get a part cut just perfect. Yeah, you got to respect that. Do you guys interpret what Robert is telling me, and we'll figure it out as we go from here. All right, Tuesday's best Cinderella stories in sports. Greatest upsets, greatest unknown players making it great. All this stuff in honor of the NCAA tournament. Where here's the deal: first 2 rounds you get upsets. After that, pick favorites, please. After the first 2 days, basically, it's really a chalky tournament. It has been for many years. So don't get into this whole upset and your bracket and everything else. Pick a couple on the first 2 days and then go chalk, and you'll be happy. It'll be good. All right. But we love the upsets, right? Your favorite upsets, your favorite teams that upset different things, your favorite upstart teams, the Cinderella stories. You tell me. Oh, and you can do it thanks to United Supermarkets and Market Street. Easy to do. They also are the ones who put their name on the Texas Tech basketball arena and so many other things. And then there's another grocery store in town, very popular. I get it. I see the cars out there, and every one of those cars is money going down to another school downstate. Just saying. David, basketball Cinderella, Tony Batty. He arrives as a guard. Well, really a large guard, a forward. He was about 6'6". He was a power forward, a skinny powered forward. He grows into a big man and goes to the NBA and plays well in the National Basketball Association as Batman, as a legit 6'11", 7-footer. And he was one of the first ones at Texas Tech in 97. Was it the 97 draft? Yeah, it was. So it was June of 97. And he announces he's coming out and he's leaving early. And Tech people were aghast. God, I can't believe this guy is leaving early. How can he leave Tech? He's not ready. Yeah, he was ready. You can't coach, that was a really interesting story, and David brings it up there that he shows up and he's like 6'6", 6'6", 6'7". He's a power forward. He's a skinny guy, and he grows into that. Joseph talking about Cinderella teams and upsets and everything else. 92, 15 seed Princeton over number 2 UCLA, 45-43. Wendy is on our YouTube channel. We love her for being on YouTube, and we hope everybody on YouTube will hit thumbs up and like and share. Don't forget Stan the Man Bonowitz. He wasn't a Cinderella story. He was just a really good player. He comes out of San Antonio. He was a mad bomber. He could hit from everywhere on the floor. He wasn't like some scrub or anything else. I'm not going to give you that one, Wendy. He was a good player when he showed up. He was a good player when he left. And last time I checked, he's still a pretty good coach. Your Cinderella stories, rags to riches in sports, the great upsets, the improbable things that happen from teams to players. That's what we're talking about tonight with the NCAA tournament. Everyone loves the upsets in the NCAA tournament. Give us your favorite upsets from the US 80 hockey team to Carl Spackler to NC State in 1983, which if you've not watched the 30 for 30 Survive and Advance doc, that may be my favorite one. I watched it like probably 5 friggin' times. All right. 5 friggin' times. And it gets better every stinking time. Jan, or it could be if she were in Sweden, Jan. Darvin Ham, a good story, getting shot in the face after getting caught in a crossfire. No other choices. His coach called Dickey, asked him to give Ham a chance. He's now an assistant in the NBA. Could have been a head coach at Texas Tech. But Tech made the right call, and he's okay on that. Yeah, I don't know if that's a Cinderella story as much as just a divine intervention or whatever. Because, I mean, Ham was always good. But, yeah, I just maybe I've got too much respect for Darvin talent-wise to just say that that was a pure Cinderella deal. Joseph going Cam Warren on baseball or base 6 or Coconut Field down there in the Alpine country area. Cam, no, the greatest like Cinderella story in Tech baseball history is Eric Gutierrez, retire number 12. Retire number 12. Eric Gutierrez, Cinderella story, greatest baseball Cinderella story, Tech history. Nobody else needs to apply. Don't worry about anything else. He's got it nailed down. That's your dude right there. It's pretty simple. Speaking of Tech baseball, we mentioned the RPI up 3 spots to 65. If you can go into April at around 40, I'll take it right now. That if you can get through TCU, Kansas State, we assume there'll be a midweek game next week. You do that, you get me around 40. This team will make the. I will make that. I will make that wager with you that if you go into April and your RPI is 42 or better, which means lower than 42, you're going to be an NCAA tournament team, which is going to freak out football guy who still hates everything and everything's bad, you know? Mike McBride and the Ride, great band in the 19. Oh, no, 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 no. We're talking offensive lineman from the 1980s. The kicker who won a job kicking for Tech, that would be a Linwood, Matt Williams. I've got to be careful how much I reveal. It was not it was a complete setup. They wanted that kid to kick. They wanted Linwood to kick in that moment. It was a setup deal. Now, that didn't mean it was set up that he was going to make the kick and they were going to sign him, but that was kind of like a deal where, all right, you get to try it here, guy. We know who you are. Leach takes the headset off and watches, and the next thing you know, a star is born. Welcome to it, Linwood. Now, is that wrong? Is that bad? No, 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 no. It's not wrong. It's not bad. It's all good. We appreciated that, right? In the moment, it looked cool. It was cool. The freaking thing with no NIL and everything that's going on today, the dude had to give up. He can take the apartment there at, so Linwood was the name of the apartment complex, Linwood Homes or whatever it was. That's where the Linwood nickname came from. Good Lord, we're nearly 20 years on this thing, aren't we now? But a great story, a cool story. I still give Wes Welker the better Cinderella story because we can't give too much stuff to kickers, right? Kickers, we don't know. You just can't trust them. And I've been flying blind here for about the last hour. It's not on the slug line. The JFK documents that were released today. Do you guys really think we're going to learn anything on this stuff? All right, here's my thoughts on this. Okay, and I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm a history guy. I think I have a pretty good idea on history and everything else that transpired around that. But I don't think you're going to learn anything when all these documents are parsed through and everything else. So, no, one, we won't. Two, you're never going to find anything from the government on aliens. All right. If you're waiting for aliens, not going to do it. J. Edgar Hoover got rid of all the files that mattered when it comes to JFK. There's not going to be a document that says, and yes, Lyndon Baines Johnson said, kill President Kennedy will make it look like the Cubans were involved in it with the Russians. And I've got this patsy by the name of Lee Harvey Oswald, and we'll do that. And then we'll have the, Warren Commission come through and we'll whitewash it all through that. You're not going to get that, man. It ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen that way. But Trump said he'd get them released, and he got it released. David, equipment manager ran by me on the sideline asking, this is going back to Linwood, Matt Williams, did you see where he, quote, Linwood went? And I said, up the tunnel. Up the tunnel. A few minutes later, they came back by me on the way to Leach. Yeah. Up the tunnel. It will up the tunnel run. Which is different from a six-man play. It's called up the river, where you take the snap, your immediate guard right, comes through and takes it on a belly and goes back the other way. Up the river. Yeah, good stuff. No, I mean, it wasn't a setup job or anything, but and I hate to be like a myth buster on that, but they were aware of who Matt Williams was. He got to kick that night for a reason. Okay. That it worked out is awesome. That it worked out is cool. Don't let that destroy the legend. Don't let that destroy anything out of it. But they were looking for kickers. He was a kicker. He'd been a kicker. He was a kicker. You're a kicker. Wouldn't you like to be a kicker too? Got a couple of more minutes left. My goodness. Outside the Redderland World headquarters, the sky is dark and brown and the wind is blowing. He got here just a little bit late. I do agree with Texas Tech offing the game against New Mexico today in baseball. You could have played it. You could have played it. They played in 10 times the worse weather. But this gives you a chance maybe to get out of that game later in the year and get a better team in and go from there. That'd be nice. No, he did not. He did not. And then when he trots out for the first time against Kansas, I think he hits like 7 extra points day one. Pretty good. Chris on our Facebook page. Oh, well, it's a fun story. It's not like the movie Rudy was factual either. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I mean, Matt Williams had to come out there and kick it. He kicked it. He had to get the job. He got the job. He had to go perform. He performed. But the idea that it was just some random luck. Oh, look, we pulled a name out of a hat. It's a guy. No, that's okay. You know, nothing ever good comes from playing New Mexico. Agreed. I love northern New Mexico. I love Red River. I love that area. They don't have a school up there, so it's not that big a deal. But Texas Tech should never play any team from New Mexico ever, at any time, ever. Just don't do it. All right. Anybody else? Colorado School of Mines would be fine by me, but not New Mexico. So maybe this will give them a chance between now and early May to say, hey, we'll give you like $25,000 for not coming here. You guys can go play New Mexico Highlands. We really don't care. We're going to play, we're going to bring in Florida State, or we're going to bring in, fill in the blank type team that, because you might need that weekend in May from an RPI standpoint to get some wins if you're playing good against a legitimate team. Even not wins, just play a 2-game set against somebody good. And if you lose them both, it's probably better than beating New Mexico. We all know what it's windy in Texas because New Mexico sucks. There we go. We got jokes tonight. You guys really didn't jump in on the maybe tomorrow on the idea of, do you care about the Big 12 conference in the NCAA tournament, or do you only care about Texas Tech? I would suggest to you, Texas Tech fans, going forward, become big fans of the Big 12. Root for the league. Root for the footprint. Root for the region. Root for it to matter to TV sponsors. Yeah. TV broadcast sponsors, that you need to do what the SEC figured out a long time ago in the Big Ten. They don't even have to care about it. But if you strengthen the Big 12 footprint, you only strengthen Texas Tech. If the Big 12 does well in the NCAA tournament, Texas Tech does well going forward. And I know that's something that a lot of Tech fans have been, and maybe even going all the way back to the days of the Southwest Conference, where you didn't have to worry about it, that you had your own little provincial area here. And it didn't matter if they won or whatever. You had what you had. The Big 12 expanded it. I don't think a lot of Tech fans really ever felt that way and thought, well, if we root for Texas or OU, how does it really help us? Well, right now, you need to root for Houston. You need to root for the Big 12 in the NCAA tournament. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I get it. I understand it. But then don't come crying to me when TV contracts are coming up and TV ratings are down and the Heartland didn't work out for you. Don't do that to me. I'm telling you right now, you need to root for every Big 12 team to do well. You don't have to like it. I don't like it. All right? I don't like it. But you got to do it. Meanwhile, back on the comment line, I do care about Big 12 success and SEC failure. David jumping back in on Facebook. Rooting for the Big 12 league is easier with UT and OU gone. I agree with that. And fake Natalie Maines on Twitter, at Ryan Hyatt Media on Twitter X. Dear Hyatt, how are you? I am spectacular. I feel good. I look pretty. I did like a little loofah sponge this morning, you know, exfoliated. You probably didn't want to know that. I am windblown as all get out. It's great that Tech canceled the baseball game today. I am also a big proponent of playing the School of Mines, and so was the late great Mike Leach. He used to study the School of Mines plays and even visited them to learn their play system. Just so you know, love you. Thank you. Chris, the only Big 12 team that makes it hard to root for is Utah. Embrace Utah. They're harmless. Truly, they are. You know, I mean, Utah, they just don't matter. That's what makes them so fun. They think they matter. They don't matter. So just love up on them, hug up on Utah, and say, that's so nice. You're so pretty. Are all Tech men's players healthy? No, but they're all going to play Thursday, according to Grant McCaslin. But McMillan's not healthy. Williams not healthy. They're not all healthy. They're all, some of them are beat up, but they're all going to play. Now, what you want is, hey, go bombs away early against UNC Wilmington. They don't defend the three well. This is the one time maybe I will say, hey, get some three looks and see if you can knock it down. They give up about 8.9 threes a game, and that's against the inferior competition they have played this year versus a Big 12 team. Go nail that. Get up to about 20 points. Get everybody out of the game that matters. Okay? Can we do that? I think we can do that. But are they all healthy? No, not by any stretch. Tech is doing a great job of promoting the Double T brand. Well, good. I'm glad that's what they're promoting. It would be weird if they were promoting something else. We're in green, white checker, and nobody did anything. You guys are killing me. This time of year, all basketball teams have injuries. Yeah, 100%. If not injuries, you're just beat up. You know, you got this going on, that going on. Are they healthy? No, they're not 100% healthy. And you would love a game Thursday night where you don't have to play McMillan, maybe even at all. And I would not, if Grant McCaslin went into that game thinking, I'm not going to play him unless I have to, I endorse that concept. All right. Because if you can't beat UNC Wilmington without him, well, you get the idea. You know, get the idea. All right. You guys are great. We will post this on the website, theraiderland.com, here in just a little bit. I want you guys to share this out there with our friends on YouTube, on Facebook, and Twitter X, and, you know, just grow the show and make it happen and get more people in here. And that's all we ask you to do. We'll have it on the website, theraiderland.com. It might be easier for some of y'all to go there to the website, link to it, and put it on your Facebook page, Twitter, and otherwise, you know. It'll be great. Lord, it looks like Mars outside the Raiderland World Headquarters light right now. I can actually smell the dust, I think, coming in. Oh, well, it's March. It's what we do, right? You guys are the best. We appreciate it. Share this, invite people in. We will be back with you in the morning for What If Wednesday. That's right, Alternate History Wednesday coming up. We'll give you a hard-hitting question. You guys can tell us how life and how the world would be different if something different had happened on a certain question. Thanks for being out there with us tonight. Thanks to our great sponsors, United Supermarkets, Kyle Rogers, Remax Realty, our realtor in Raiderland, and of course, The Reserve, a culinary tavern on 103rd and Quaker in Lubbock, Texas. Great menu, and they'll be open and ready to go for you Thursday night late. I think it's going to be like a 9:45 tip-off. We'll see what happens. All right, we'll see you in the morning on the website, theraiderland.com.